Hey, what's going on guys? This is Sumito with SumitoMedia.com. Today we're doing a laptop review of a brand new laptop by ASUS called the ROG Strix GL502VS. Now this is a 15.6 inch gaming laptop and has specs along the lines of basically everything else on the market, but the one thing that sets it apart is the screen. This bad boy is housing a 120Hz G-Sync panel on the laptop itself, and I got to spend some time with it, so let's jump right into the review. First off, looking at the specifications, this machine is sitting at about $1,700 on Amazon, so it's going to have just about the highest end everything. An i7-7700HQ quad-core processor, 16GB of DDR4 2400MHz RAM, expandable to up to 32GB if you should so choose to, an NVIDIA GeForce 1070 graphics card, as well as a 128GB solid-state drive and a 1TB hard drive. Now, as I've said before, none of this is special. Basically, every laptop sitting at about $1,700 is going to have more or less all the same specs inside and out. They even have some laptops that are going to be right around the same weight and form factor as well. The thing that sets this ASUS laptop apart from all of those is that it's the first one I've seen that's got this high refresh screen as well as a G-Sync enabled panel on the laptop. Now this is a very, very big deal. One of the biggest things to set apart laptops from desktops previously was the sort of performance that you could get out of a desktop versus the portability you'd get out of a laptop. With the new 10th generation graphics cards and how powerful laptop i7s have gotten, that's just not the case anymore. You can get a really powerful laptop that'll run most all of your games just fine and still be able to bring around your computer with you wherever you go. The one thing that did set them apart for a little bit, at least in the competitive scene, has been G-Sync. If you need your monitor to be extremely responsive, then you more or less need to use a high refresh monitor at 100, 120, or 144 Hz if you want to have the competitive edge in games like League of Legends, Counter-Strike, and Overwatch. Laptops simply didn't have that feature built into them until now. But enough of that theory crafting, let's get into the performance of this thing, how I felt playing on it, and what I liked and hated about this thing. Now we ran it through a standard real-world and synthetic benchmarking test. For benchmarking we used Cinebench. On the CPU processor test of it, it scored right about 730, which is on par with older desktop i7s, so that's good to see. And on the OpenGL graphics portion of the synthetic benchmark, it scored right around 98 frames per second, which is very close to what you'd get out of a 1070 desktop edition, so also really great to see. For real-world games, we ran it through City Skylines to test the processor, Overwatch to test the graphics card, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive to test the 120Hz G-Sync screen. On City Skylines, it scored pretty well, averaging right around 30 FPS throughout the entirety of the gameplay, which is not uncommon for a game like that. In Overwatch, we were hanging right around 80 to 90 FPS most times, but we were playing on the Ultra preset at 120 Hz. So if you turn down either of those settings, you'd very easily get a playable 120, 130 FPS, no problem. But my real interest was in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. This is probably the go-to game if you're looking to upgrade from a standard monitor on a computer or a standard screen on a laptop up to the high refresh rate and G-Sync that this laptop offers. To make a long story short, the screen is fantastic and the gameplay was sublime. For anybody who's been playing on a normal laptop that upgrades to something like this, it's going to be night and day for you. The G-Sync works phenomenally. I noticed no vertical screen tearing through any of the tests that I did, and the 120 Hz of the screen is very good and an accurate 120 Hz. If I switched off and switched back to 60 Hz, I noticed an immediate difference, and that's how I knew that it was working, and it felt smooth. It felt competitively viable, and it felt like a real desktop experience in this small 15-inch computer. So let's jump right into the positives and negatives and whether or not I think you should run out and buy one of these right now. Starting with the negatives, this laptop only comes with a 128GB solid-state drive, which means after installing Overwatch and City Skylines, that drive was immediately full for me. So if you're planning on installing a lot of games onto the faster drive, you're gonna have to go and get yourself a larger one. Another negative is that the laptop does get relatively warm to the touch after a couple of hours of use. This wasn't terribly uncomfortable for me, but for people with more sensitive hands, they may find this problematic. And finally, the keyboard is not an RGB backlit keyboard. At $1,700, most everything made by MSI and a lot of other manufacturers are, so I feel like this could have been an easily implemented thing by ASUS. Moving on to the positives, there are a lot of things that this computer does right, the main of which is that it is a small laptop. At 5 pounds, not only is this a gaming computer that's VR ready, but it's also something I could throw into a backpack and take to class or bring onto a plane with me. And the other major benefit, of course, is the screen. It's a phenomenal G-Sync panel running at 120 Hz, and it's something that I would be happy to bring with me if I was on the go, and would not find myself missing my desktop computer too much because of that luxury. Now, do I think you should run out and get one of these right now? If you're looking to get yourself a gaming computer and looking to spend anywhere from $1,500 to $1,600 anyway to get the i7 and the 1070 combo, you might as well spend the extra $100 to $200 and get this guy instead if you play the more competitive games. If you look online, a G-Sync monitor that you'd hook up to a desktop is going to be anywhere from $300 to $450, so I think to spend the extra $100 and get it implemented into your laptop is well worth the money. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Again, I am Sumit with SumitoMedia.com. Please leave a like below if you like this video and subscribe if you want to see more like this in the future. Peace.